tambula bibyo omugagga n'akusamuliza ekisooto.
Lack of empathy.
An MP embezzles money meant for the road.
Be empathetic. Neighbor yafiiridwa ne bataziika.
Lack of empathy.
Joanna,
Yeah.
do you know we realize that most of the terrible acts that happen all around the world, you know, the very common bad acts or bad behaviors are as a result of lack of empathy. And I wanted us to talk about it such that we can show people how very important empathy is in our day-to-day lives. So what do you think, according to you, what is empathy?
Empathy to me is, I think it's more of trying to feel someone else's, how they feel, you know, putting yourself in their shoes. It's more of like walking a mile in someone else's shoes, you know, or another's shoes. Empathy to me can be taught, you know, or it can happen it can just happen like
unknowingly.
you know, you just feel like, oh, you know, something
maybe like you're born with it.
But I think it usually works out for people. In my own, you know, thinking, I think it works out mainly for people who have been brought up in a setting where they're not competing for things, where
content.
they're not, where they are content, where they are okay with what they have, where they are in a good environment generally. But if let us look at someone else who has grown up in an environment where alaba maybe abalaba, you know, to get what they want.
Ghetto.
Or to take the ghetto kind of setting.
Yeah,
I
ghetto.
don't want to say, but
you
the
get
ghetto
what
kind
you
of
want.
yes. It is survival for the what?
For the fetus.
For the fetus.
Yes.
I have to, even if I don't want to, I have to. So along the way, when someone is that kind of environment, I think I took a not losing, because I don't think our parents bringing us up, body bad setting up, you know, empathy. Empathy. No, I feel like it happened to us only because of how we were brought up
and where we were even brought up.
Yes, and for those who you feel, probably in a space where, even if it wasn't a ghetto, but even if it was maybe an extended family, and they feel like everything,
share for
along the way, I think empathy, ruler.
It's true. For example, we can see it even starting from young children. Omwana nakuba munne out of the blue because he feels like najja nakuba munne punch. Like he doesn't care what the other person is going to feel. Oba abalowooza nti omwana oli si mwana wa muntu naye nga ye oshegera. So someone is going to just come and punch another person. That is all lack of empathy.
I know there are people out there who are watching. They have never even lost a parent. Or when someone tells you, I lost a parent. Jesus. You know how it feels.
You can envision yourself. Yes.
You can envision yourself. Look up and imagine if I lost my parent. Or what you take it. That is a simple description of empathy.
Such that you know what to tell them. You know how to comfort them. You know what not to say. You know, there are people who don't know what not to say in certain situations.
They lack what to say.
Yes.
But when you put yourself in their shoes, you kind of get the feeling of how. And sometimes it could be broad. You know, we can broaden it in a setting of maybe it's a war. People have been losing their parents east, west, north, and then someone else. Along the way, you lose empathy. If there is a lot of sadness, or if there is a lot of,
it becomes normal.
Yeah, it becomes normal. That is when empathy tandika okuggwaawo. Buli omu natandika okwagala. Now even if you see the economy, buli omu ayagala kubba ko omanyi nti economy etabuse. Okitegeera, that is where people lose empathy.
Like for example in boarding schools. In boarding schools they steal your stockings, you go and also steal another person's stockings. No, the reason actually it would have been so much better if everyone thought about it. In the empathetic way. Like everyone says, you know what, nange weba bezange okitegeera naaliwulidde nti asooka nnoonye ezange oba ezange ayinza obba yazi misplacings oba you know, like for example boys sometimes they don't want to wash, they just go and throw in the pit latrines. So aba amanyi nalabyeyo oli ayina empya gwe ngenda ogenda nkimeezize. So that's how it starts, you know. So oli natandika kati gwe singa tewatandika we wouldn't be here. If you were empathetic and you thought about you know, stealing someone else's and how they are going to manage without, maybe they had only that pair. And then, you know, so we need to teach our children even in the schools. Actually, in the boarding schools, it's very hard because it's oh baba kuba, oh baba kuba, oh baba kuba. I was even told that they even steal your suitcase. So yes, even in the outside world, we have people who steal. Thieves are stealing because they don't have empathy. They don't care how you feel. They don't care if they come and rape you. They don't care if they break your door. They don't care if they are destroying anything.
They lost it along the way.
For them, all they want is what you have. You know, they don't care. So that's all lack of empathy.
Yeah. So now that we know all about empathy, what should we do, or what are the signs of empathy, or what can someone do? Maybe if they lost empathy along the way, you know, how can they be able to help themselves get back on track? You know, we have people you talk, or for example, you tell them something, they don't even know what to say because they can't imagine themselves in your shoes.
Again, but they don't want.
So how can we bridge that gap?
For me, first of all, I think empathy is supposed to be taught from the earlier stages in parenting, like we mentioned in a certain video. Parenting is very key. When you're teaching your child, you need to teach them empathy by showing them examples. You can show them through the movies, you can show them through situations, you can even create situations like we said. So for the children, Wamujawan singer already are feeling someone else. You know, they put themselves in someone's shoes, they think before they do certain things. Then I think that's a very important key.
Yeah, of course.
In bridging that gap.
And also trying to be a good listener. You know, there are people who call, there are even jobs, like you can call, hello, tell us about yourself. I'm feeling like this. Now this person is able to give you the best advice only because they have listened to you. So one of the things that can help you to improve being empathetic to people is being a good listener. I remember there's a time a friend of mine who used to talk to me. We used to talk, and then whenever I used to talk to her, she would keep on asking me questions in my conversation. For example, you say, I went to town. To do what? Why did you use taxi? Details, even the tiniest of details. It used to, I used to feel like, it made me feel like I want to share more. Because she used to ask even the tiniest of details. And then I started learning from her. Every time she calls me, I'll be able to resonate as well. For example, if someone tells me, is it tight? Was it tight? Like, how did you feel about it? Like, even to create,
you know, we're actually bad at that. We're so bad at listening, where and then you want to quickly put your point of someone is telling you, first of all, they want to tell you probably a certain point, maybe pain point or happy point or something, but when no papa or no take our issue, the person is going to feel less interested in telling you more. So look at an example where someone comes to you to borrow money, like a lot of people borrow every day.
Of course.
Comes to you and tells you, you know what, my boss is going to pay me next week, but I need to sort out some things. Within 1 week's time, you know, because you are empathetic, you feel for them in their situation. You feel like, oh, okay, maybe if this happened to me, I would also come and, you know, I would also do the same thing. So let me help. Empathetically, you help. And here you go, you help someone who is not empathetic. And when he gets paid, he's going to feel like, oh my god, 300,000 okuzijja kwa salary wange nze kusasule nga zine ebyokola okitegera.
Honestly, sometimes when you're being empathetic, you might feel drained, you know, overwhelmed. Nogamba nze mpitawo wanza asinga ekisa nze Yesu you know.
Kituufu.
But at some point otuukanga if it is not tebakikuddiza you give, you don't yes, otandiko. I think that is where also people lose it. Nagamba
nayamba
nyambi bameka. You know, people, you know, there is empathy in the world, but somehow people bava kumulamwa and then
the people who lack empathy are the ones who are causing the good people to lose empathy. So in this time you want to go and borrow money and you will not find anyone to give you because
the few corrupt seeds are starting to corrupt others to feel like it is me and my family. Ndeka, you know, something of that sort.
That's true.
So in conclusion, empathy is important.
Very.
And let us try to retrain ourselves
in all
situations. You know, but in all situations,
it starts with us.
Yes, it starts with us. And we know that we need to be there for our friends. And those who really care will also be there for us, you know. So let's not stop expressing empathy towards people because of our previous experiences, but still do it because it's human, you know.
In a situation, why I said it starts with us, it's because when you do it, when I do good, another person is going to do me good as well because I did good to them. If you lost someone and I came to be with you in the trying moment, you definitely will be there for me also in my trying moment. So, and there it will be passed on like that. Now, in return, you pass it on. You pass on the goodness to another and another. And before you know it, we shall grow an empathetic community.
Exactly. So we need empathy, guys. So that's it from us, being empathetic and sharing with you guys and loving you.
Reminder.
Yes.
Bantu mwe, we can do better. Let's be empathetic.